Hey guys, Carrot197 again. This time with a review of the 144th scale high-grade Gundam Thunderbolt, Zaku II Thunderbolt version, and Big Gun double set. And the first thing you'll immediately notice is when you look at the Thunderbolt version of the Zaku is that unlike the Jim and the Gundam, very little has actually changed in its design. I mean, this is almost as if another artist tried to draw the Zaku II in his or her mecha style. And throw in a different backpack, because hey, when we bring in the F2 here, we see that almost most of the parts stayed the same or very, very similar. However, in case you're wondering, no parts were recycled from any other Zaku kit. So this is a completely new kit, even though you might think some parts have been recycled. No, completely new, even though some things might look extremely similar to recent Zakus. So, moving on with the colors. As usual, we get the normal Zaku colors. We have one light green shade, we have one dark green shade in the usual spots. I really like the little color difference going on in his crotch here. I mean, the darker green and the lighter green. Then we have gray for the backpack, and for the accessories we have black or very, very dark gray for the chest piece, kneecaps, and then the black on his feet. Then these meshy joints, which is a staple with the Gundam Thunderbolts, might look like it's black or very dark gray, but this is actually a very, very dark moss green color. So we have the usual joint places here. Also, not on the feet, unfortunately. So then we have the pipes, which just like these joints seem to have a faint green to them, so very, very, very dark green. Then unfortunately, one color they didn't include is, at least not with the Zaku, is the gold color, which is a really big letdown actually, considering that the Big Gun does have a gold runner in it. So that means that the thruster is the wrong color, these little ones are all stickers, and also the end of the bazooka isn't molded in gold. So it really would have been better if they included that on the Big Gun's runner. So yeah, this just comes off as a little bit unfortunate because they could have easily done it. But I guess they decided not to because they knew they were going to release this guy as a separate kit, so they decided to just keep the gold runner for the Big Gun to make it easier to make this kit separate. So those are all the colors we have for the Zaku. Then the colors we're getting for the Big Gun, because as I said, all the runners for the Big Gun are completely separate from the Zaku in order to facilitate releasing this guy as a separate kit. So what we're getting with the Big Gun is two violet pieces. Then we have actually quite baby blue parts for the barrel, these energy generators, the plate here, and the handle. Unlike the much better looking gray we see on the manual and the box art. I really don't know why they decided to go with baby blue on a gun turret, but yeah. And then for the most part, this is kind of a cross between gray, blue, and green. It seems it's like a little bit going all over the place with colors. Quite dark, so from a distance it looks more like a gray color, but then depending on, well, the light, it looks a little bit more on the green side, then it looks a little bit more on the blue side. So yeah. Then, as I also said, we're also getting gold on the gun turret. But then the question is, of course, which gold parts are gold plastic and which ones are gold stickers? Well, the parts at the bottom here are gold, or plastic, the little thrusters are plastic, and then also the ones that are supposed to be over there are also gold. Why they aren't on there? Well, I'll explain in a second. And then we have now come to the stickers. Once again, I'm going to grab the Zaku here. We're getting a very, very nice looking metallic eye, and that's really something they should give with all the Zakus, because it definitely looks a lot cooler. It's more like something that would really shine at you in the dark. Like, it's more active. Because when you compare it to the normal matte eye sticker. It's in there, but it's also not quite that visible. So it's cooler, it's more visible, it's all around just better. Then other stickers, we're getting a lot of these little gray ones here going all over the arms. Yes, these are actually also arms, even though we're not getting extended arms. These are just arms in stored mode, so unfortunately these are not going anywhere. Then, as I already said before, we're getting little gold stickers all around here. We're getting a light gray sticker that wraps around there. These light gray things are just one sticker that goes on there. These here are stickers too, getting one on the top, one here, and then one on each side. So those are all the stickers for the Zaku. We're also getting a sticker for the targeting thingy for the bazooka. Then we're gonna go on to the big gun again. We're getting these gray stickers here all over the barrel instead of just having a part in there. Then gold stickers, a bunch of them, getting the ones here on the sides all over the kit. Then all the gold you see on here, these are all little stickers on both sides, and these are little gold stickers as well. And actually, even though there's already a hell of a lot of gold on there, there's still supposed to be more gold on there. So if you like painting details, well, go crazy, because there's like gold supposed to be all around here, little gold all over the place. Then little red sticker here, red one over there. And oh yeah, one thing I totally forgot about is these really cool two clear parts in the scope. That's really, really nice looking. And then we're also getting violet stickers on the things on the generator. And I gotta say that these are actually not that great, because when I take one off, you will see that there's actually still some blue showing, especially at the top here. It's just actually the wrong shape. It doesn't cover the top all that well, so these stickers are really pretty bad for a modern high grade. And when we look at the top, we will see that I hope you like baby blue, because the inside of the generator, one, is going to be a pain to paint, because these are just two halves slapped together, and the whatever's inside there is part of the same part as the little things in between. So good luck painting that. Not only did they not mold that in color, they just made it extremely difficult to paint too. Then, moving on with the stickers, we have this yellow one here, the little gold ones over there. So a lot of stickers going on there. And then now, moving on to the articulation, because this actually has a little bit of articulation too, but not nearly enough for a gun turret. It goes left and right, and what would you also expect a gun turret to do? Up and down perhaps? Not happening. A gun turret that does not move up and down. Great. Who the hell thought that that was a good idea? I mean, that's just the biggest disappointment of the big gun. It's a turret, it's supposed to go up and down, and this isn't something you can easily fix. I mean, good luck trying to saw that out there. And if you can see it with the light, it's even shown that it should go up and down around here on this hinge. So why didn't they do that? It's a turret. That's like the most basic thing it should be able to do. But hey, at least they give us movable legs, so they go up and down, and whoops, and this also goes up and down. Whoop-de-freaking-do. How about making the cannon go up and down rather than having to position the legs in odd ways? Because yeah, it can go up and down if you move the legs around. Yay. So yeah, that's the biggest letdown of the big gun. And another little letdown is why I didn't put the golden parts on there. Well, believe it or not, it seems like they're not snapped together. The manual doesn't tell you to glue them, but they just won't stay on. And if I can grab a hold of one, there we go. So, for a visual demonstration, let's try putting this one in there. And it goes, and on, and out it goes. So the thing with those parts is that the manual, I'm pretty sure that it tells you right here, in my best Japanese, that this little nub here isn't necessary, so please cut it off. That's what I thought it said, and when I looked at all the illustrations, they confirmed it, because everywhere you see the part, on the cover, on the other pictures, never do we see this nub again. So I thought, hey, I'll cut it off. I tried to put one of these on there with the nub, and it created a little stretch mark. So I figured I'll cut them all off, and now they just don't want to stay on, while I just did what the manual told me to do. So far the big gun hasn't really scored a lot of hits yet. Oh yeah, one more piece of articulation. Well, two actually. The handle goes up and down, and then also in and out for easier holding it, and holding it in multiple poses. Then moving on to the Zaku II, and before we go on with the articulation, just a quick thing about the proportions, and that's really one of my biggest problems with this kit. I can't really put my finger on it, but there's something wrong going on with the lower half of the body proportion-wise. Like I said, I don't know if it's the legs that are a bit too fat, or the feet that are too small when compared to the legs, or something just all around wrong with it, but the mobile suit just seems a bit dwarfed. Like, there's really something wrong going on there. While I was building the upper half of the body, it looked really great. I was really excited about this kit, but then the more I worked on the legs, the less I started liking these proportions. So, yeah, really quite a problem there. Then, let's just hope the articulation makes up for that. Whoops, there it goes. So, head goes a little bit up, a little bit down, forwards and backwards chicken movement, turns around all the way, and then when we remove the head, you'll see that as usual we have a little lever there to move the mono eye, but of course what we can do, as always with the Zakus, the mono eye is molded in there, so you can just grab a toothpick and move it around with the toothpick. I gotta say, this is one of the loosest mono eyes I've seen, so while it is easy to turn around, it also means that sometimes while you're posing it or just moving it around a little bit, the eye will also slightly move on its own. Then the arms shield is on a ball joint, so we'll move around and wiggle around, go up about that far, then with the ball joint it goes up like that. So then with the ball joint that's in there, we'll also wiggle around. It's on a hinge there, so it goes forward about that far. We'll rotate around all the way, turns around nicely, goes up the elbow at one joint. Great, so the Jim and the Gundam got two joints. The F2, unfortunately, like most other modern Zakus, seems like it has only one joint here. So instead of following the good example set by the Jim and the Gundam, it decided to follow the bad example of the other Zakus and only has one joint there too. Then hands move around on a ball joint, wiggle around, turn around, do everything a ball joint does. Then spike shield goes up and seems to hinder articulation a little bit, simply because the spike shield doesn't go out quite enough. So when we compare that to the shield, that is actually quite a difference. So really a shame that this time the Zaku didn't solve the spike shield problem, because most other Zakus don't really have a problem with the spike shield. Quite weird actually, they didn't really do that. Then a good piece of articulation is that there is a nice waist joint, but the backpack is actually a little bit too heavy for the ball joint in the waist. So you can technically put him forwards, but the backpack just doesn't want you. And when we're going to put the machine gun and the bazooka on there and the heat hawk in the future, that only makes matters worse. So it can go a little bit backwards too. But yeah, it's a little bit pointless, but the good news is we do actually get some really nice side-to-side movement for a Zaku, because those hoses are still connected to the backpack and to the front here, so can't really complain too much about the ball joint, just unfortunate about the weight of the backpack. And hey, when you change out that backpack, that ball joint there is going to be really nice. Then one surprising part, separate front skirts. Just like the Gym and the Gundam, these are molded together, but for the first time ever, the manual explicitly tells you that you can separate them, which is really nice to see, and I hope they keep that up. So really nicely forwards, a little bit backwards, but then we have the extra joint in there, and when you swivel that forwards, the legs suddenly move backwards quite a lot more. So put that back in there, rotate around, and then the legs are double jointed for a whopping not even 90 degrees. And we're talking about standard Zaku legs here. We're not talking about the quite extravagant high mobility types. We're talking standard Zaku legs, and they can't even get 90 degrees of bend. That is shameful. Just plain shameful. The one cool thing is that there's a little bit of part separation going on there. But yeah, those knee joints, I mean, come on, that's just, well, like I said, shame to you, Zaku. So then, the feet have the usual Zaku joints. We have hinge at the top, then another hinge in the feet, kind of give it flip-flop movements. Then backwards a little bit, rotates around all the way, and there we go. So unfortunately, just like the big gun, the articulation is a little bit lacking here. I mean, overall, it's the standard articulation, so nothing special, but then when you look at, well, the elbow, which only has one joint, the knees who are double jointed, but go have an abysmal movement of not even 90 degrees, well, they really should have put more effort into articulation. And one final piece of articulation is when you extend the fuel tank here a little bit, it will also rotate around. Other than that, there's no movement here going on at all. These arms don't move, thrusters don't move, they're all just pegged into place, and they're solid. So now let's hope that the articulations will finally redeem this kit. Of course, the big gun doesn't come with any accessories, so we're immediately gonna hop on with the Zaku. Then, first things first, we get this bazooka, and I have to say, I really like the look of this. I mean, they made it look a little bit like it's a cross between the normal Zaku bazooka and then the giant bazooka. We have a nice separate thing here which goes up and down. I mean, that's a cool little thing, but the big problem is the ammo pack. And, of course, when we remove this open hand here, this is going to be a little bit troublesome to wield because this gets in the way. You can't really do an over-the-shoulder one. You can do an under-the-shoulder pose, but then that is unfortunately the only thing you can really do like this. However, there is one piece of good news going on there, because when you want to put it on the right arm, you can do it because there's a peg on both sides, but this is going to clash with that shield. So what you can do is remove it, turn it around, and then the manual doesn't tell you to do this, but hey, who cares about the manual if we can get an over-the-shoulder hold? And there we go. So just use a little bit of creativity, and that is fixed. Then, next up we have the Heat Hawk. And surprise, surprise, this Zaku is finally gonna score some extra good points. He has passed the Heat Hawk test. Yes, at the very least, he's able to hold a Heat Hawk. Thank God for that, really. And then, of course, it's a Zaku, and what is a Zaku with the Zaku machine gun? Oh yeah, for articulation on here, scope goes up and down, and the handle goes left and right. And same articulation is present on the bazooka. The scope goes up and down, and then handle goes up and down too. So he can hold both of the weapons with both hands. And off goes the bazooka. In you go. And yeah, as you can see, he's a little bit back heavy, but not too bad when you arc him over enough. So in goes the Zaku machine gun. And as you probably noticed these hands are a little bit angled, so they go in there pretty damn well. So here's a Zaku with all of his accessories there, but of course, what you really want to do is hook him up to the big gun. So you can store all of the accessories on the machine. So let's immediately do that. Just gonna remove the hand here. And then for the bazooka, we're of course gonna have to put this back as Bandai wants it. So for the bazooka, we're getting this clip, which goes onto the fuel tank. And then there's a little hole here, peg there, and clips on there. The one problem I do have with this is that the ammo pack seems to be directly behind the thrusters. Call me crazy, but I don't think that's a brilliant idea to have an ammo pack right after a thruster powered by... yeah, might want to rethink that one. So, let's move on with the Zaku machine gun. Remove it. And then for the Zaku machine gun, we're also getting another accessory. You get this plate, and just like the bazooka, there's a hole in here, peg there, just put it on there. There we go. Then the heat hawk goes on the other side. See that it clips right in there, so put it on there. And then, as you can see, there are two handlebars here, and this part just clips in there. Turn it around, there we go. Click it on there, and then I would just recommend you to, of course, be careful, because those handlebars are on the thin side, so they might just break. But then the problem is Zaku is now, of course, quite... ah, God. He's quite back heavy now. And just gotta put that back on there, come on. And the cool thing is that it kinda, well, flails around at the back there. So now, his waist joint is getting extra stress to put up with, thanks to all the accessories on the back now. But we can now finally do the signature pose you're supposed to do with the Zaku II big gun set. So we're getting a separate hand, which is the same trigger finger, but now we're getting a straight ball joint rather than a bent one. And I also believe that this one, which is not at an angle, isn't going to be included on the normal release of the Zaku we're gonna get this month, because you know, on runners you can sometimes see that a certain part was added on there, or that it's going to be removed in another kit. Well, this hand was on such a part. So then, there was one. And we're gonna put that on there. There we go. Yep, that goes in there perfectly. And then we just gotta get the left holding hand, put it in there. And this is really the reason why you bought the big gun set. It's not for the big gun separately, it's not for the Zaku separately, it's just so that you can have a giant turret for your mobile suit. And like I said, if you want to aim up, you gotta move the entire thing. And even though separately they are anything but impressive, this is at least somewhat good looking. I know you had one final accessory we're also getting is a closed fist left hand, but yeah, I don't think we're gonna really use that. Now, will we? So yeah, maybe it's a little bit ludicrous to have a mobile suit use a gun turret if, you know, they could just use a giant gun themselves, or if you just put a person in charge of it, but let's not think too much about that and just enjoy a big gun turret for your Gundams or Zakus or any other mobile suits. Because yes, this is of course just a standard trigger and a standard holding bar with standard hands, so most mobile suits, I'm not going to say all of them to be on the safe side, but almost all 1/44 scale model kits which have a trigger finger should be able to hold on to this thing. So that is, of course, very good. I tried out with a few of them, and pretty much all of them were able to hold on to it, even the ones with the weird trigger finger design like the Zaku III. And like I said, you fiddle around with it a little bit and it works perfectly. Now, before we go on, I almost forgot about these very nice sticker sheets, but let's fix the zoom first. There we go. As with all the Gundam Thunderbolt model kits, we're getting really nice marking decals. These are the one we're getting with the Zaku II. And you can see a very nice big Zeon symbol, the usual warning symbols. But just as with the gym, we're not getting any number stickers or personal markings that you could use to really customize it and make it your own Zaku. That's really a disappointment. Just like I said with the gym, why not give us a few number stickers so you can make it your Zaku and your big gun? It's not his big gun, it's my big gun. And what I really love is Zeon, Principality off. I think that should be the other way around. And then here we have the smaller sticker sheet we're getting with the big gun set. I mean, once again, the usual warnings and just stripes to make it a little bit more industrial looking. So, really sweet ones. And oh yeah, I think I also forgot to mention a few stickers on the Zaku. The gray ones on the elbows here, and also the gray ones on the knees there on either side. And that is all for that. As always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? And well, I can't really give an easy answer here. For 3,800 yen, well, you're getting two models which both have their problems. Neither of them is perfect. I mean, the Zaku, for being a Zaku, is actually kind of disappointing. I mean, the articulation is meh. The accessories are nice, but then, yeah, the proportions are quite off, which is pretty off-putting. So the Zaku II itself is nah. And then the big gun, of course, has the big problem of being a turret which can't go up or down unless you move the legs. I mean, way to go! The only up and down mobility this gun is getting is from the tripod. That's really not the smartest gun design out there, or turret design for that matter. I guess we're gonna have to go Halo on this turret and just rip it straight off. But of course that's not gonna go over well with all model kits because this is quite a heavy thing. And then other problems, well yeah, these little purple stickers aren't that great. Painting the insides of these generators is going to be a major pain, rather than having a smart design like they're doing with the high-grade Cosmic Era Ailstrike, you know, with the Ailstriker pack where the inside is gray, but then they put over these raster things as a separate part. Why not do something like that? Or even if they weren't going to make the inside in the correct color, why not have the bottom half have those, well, have the guts of the generator and then just have the top part being that raster put on there? Why not do something like that? Why? And then why should we have to glue these parts on there when we actually follow the manual? And then again, I don't really like the idea of gluing those. You never know if a little bit of glue is gonna escape, get in there and kind of screw up the mobility. I mean, you never know. So as separate kits, you know, it's kind of a little bit so I can't fully recommend it. However, if you like the idea of having a giant turret for your mobile suits, then for 3,800 yen, it still has something going for it. It's not, I mean, it's quite hard to explain this. I mean, the easiest way to put it is, it's got a giant turret. That's really the best way to put it. For 3,800 yen, you're getting a meh mobile suit, a turret that looks a bit yeah, but you still get a giant turret. So that's kind of the appeal for this, and I think it's sufficient to say that Bandai knew that. Bandai knew that we were going to buy this model kit for the giant turret. Even if it requires some paint here and there, and even though with the mobile suit included is a little bit blah. I mean, I don't even think in the manga it was also the Zaku I which used it, so I would really laugh my ass off if they're going to follow a high-grade universal sentry logic and have a Zaku 2 that's a little bit nah, and then have a Zaku 1 that is bloody awesome. So yeah, the conclusion is pretty much for 3,800 yen, this is an expensive set, a little bit too expensive, but I would have set up the price a little bit and give us a little bit more, but overall, 3,800 yen, you're getting a big turret. So yeah, it's really not easy to say if I'm disappointed. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm disappointed or not. Separately, yes, there are things to be really disappointed about, but it's still a giant turret. You know what, let's just go on with the size comparisons now. So here is next to some of my favorite Zakus. We've got the Zaku F2, we've got the Zaku from the 8MS team, and yeah, it's really quite obvious which one of these Zakus is the best. And looking at the F2 reminds me of something that the Zaku II Thunderbolt doesn't come with. Can you tell what? Something I haven't mentioned? A commander antenna. Yeah, so let's put him next to the Zaku 1, which does come with a commander antenna. And then let's put him next to Johnny Raiden's Zaku 2, which also comes with an antenna. And then we have Garma Zaku, which also comes with an antenna. And then let's not forget about the high-grade universal sentry Zaku 2, which I currently don't have right here, which also came with an antenna. It also has to be said that with this extra backpack, he does look a little bit more massive than some of the regular Zakus, but when we're talking about massiveness, here is the Zaku 3, also with a commander antenna. And if you're wondering where the right hand of the Zaku 3 went, it's right over there.